Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food system storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
This program is made possible thanks to the generosity of our listeners. Show your support at heritageradionetwork.org/donate.
This week on Meat and Three, we're talking about comfort food as we explore its history, meaning, and different interpretations from around the world.
Donburi is just a simple, casual dish, but it's packed with the history.
Somebody might have their comfort food be something that they remember eating at their friend's house, but they would never have at their own home. Consuming foods that were eaten then can bring back some of those feelings from those times.
It's about creating these little breaks and moments during the day where you kind of feel present.
Tune in to Meat and Three, HRN's weekly food news roundup, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, welcome to Japan Eats. I'm your host, Katema, food writer and the director of the New York Japanese Culinary Academy, which promotes a deeper understanding of Japanese cuisine in America. This show is all about Japanese food and food culture. We see sushi at every day in the supermarket, but what is beyond sushi? We hear dashi ramen izakaya, but what exactly are they? Japanese food is still a mystery for many people, and I will try to demystify it in this program with my co-guests. My guest today is Kanaria Eiraku, who is a rakugo-ka, or a traditional Japanese comic storyteller. Rakugo is a unique form of entertainment that became popular in Japan in the 17th century during the Edo period. A storyteller sits on the stage alone, only with a folding fan and a hand towel. These are the only props used during the performance, but once the rakugo-ka starts talking, you are in another world. The rakugo-ka quickly draws you into the story, and you would feel as if you are sitting right next to the characters. And there is always a surprise punchline at the end. So that is why rakugo has been very popular for centuries, and rakugo is becoming global lately, and there are even non-Japanese rakugo-ka like Katsura Sunshine, who joined us on episode 102. And Eiraku-san is one of the rakugo ambassadors who inspired the world with the power of Japanese style, yet universal humor in English. So today, we will discuss what exactly rakugo is, how Eiraku-san got into rakugo, why rakugo is so unique and powerful, and much, much more. And of course, Eiraku-san will perform rakugo for us too. Quickly before we start, Japan Eats is available on the Heritage Radio Network website, as well as on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify as a podcast. So if you haven't, please go to iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify and subscribe to Japan Eats. And please write a review. We would really appreciate your feedback. Now let's start our conversation with Kanaria Eiraku. Hello, Eiraku-san. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for staying up so late. It's 12 a.m. So thank you so much for that. All right, so we have a lot to discuss. So first of all, let's talk about who you are. So what is your background?
I'm now a lecturer at the Kanda University of International Studies and also at Komazawa University. And I'm an English rakugo performer. So I'm wearing two hats.
That's amazing. So you teach English and you teach rakugo. and
Yeah,
perform rakugo.
yes, I teach classes like performance in English. Mm.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm
Okay,
teaching
we'll talk
performance.
about
Yes.
that later so that our listeners can join you maybe one day or sometime soon online. So let's talk about rakugo. So what is rakugo and how is it culturally important?
Mm. Rakugo is a solo storytelling with a touch of humor. Yeah, as you said, that the story usually ends with a punchline, and I would say it's a kind of miniature theater based on kabuki. There are some rules when we perform rakugo, and all the rules come from kabuki. So I think in that sense, I think it is quite important. Theatrical tradition is succeeded in rakugo.
Hmm, interesting.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
for listeners who are not familiar with kabuki, what is kabuki?
Kabuki is really traditional theater, I think, which dates back to about, I think, 400 years ago. It's a very traditional one. And we have the rules of what we call kamite and shimote. Kamite, kamite is stage, kamite is stage left and shimote is stage right. So kamite means upper side and shimote is downside. So for example, when person of a lower position is talking to a person who is of a higher position, a person of a lower position should stay on shimote or the stage right, and the person who is of a higher position should stay on kamite or stage left. That is a quite important rule, and that rule is passed on to rakugo.
So the kabuki is a more kind of more formal theater act, but it's kind of
Yeah.
funny
Mm-hmm.
stories they always perform, right? But it's
Mm,
more
yeah.
involved,
Yes. Mhm. There's
right?
yes, but yeah, there are some types of stories. Uh, what we call jidaimono. It is the story about history, and there are stories of common people called sewamono. Yeah, so there are
Mm,
some types of stories in kabuki.
right. Interesting. So because when we think of Japanese traditional theaters, it's no is very kind of art um, focused and more
Hmm.
kind of ambience, and kabuki is more like you said, story of our lives, and then what's really important, what rakugo is fascinating is that you don't have any big theater setting, and
Hmm.
what I
Yeah.
my father used to watch it. He was just watching TV on rakugo,
Mm.
often playing on TV, and then I don't have any intention to see it, but once I look at it, I can't stop. I just sit next to him and start watching it because it's
Mm.
so kind of absorbing. So
Mm.
maybe you can talk more about what is unique about rakugo compared to other genres of entertainment.
Um, yeah, rakugo, we kneel down. It's a solo performance, and we kneel down on a square cushion called zabuton, and I think, that's quite unique. There are some similar types of narrative arts like kodan, and kodanshi or kodan performer also kneel down on zabuton or cushion, and they focus on the stories about the heroes and heroines of history, while rakugo focus on the lives of common people. So that is a different point. And also we have rokyoku. Rokyoku is a story with music. So the stories are always accompanied by a shamisen player. So that is a different point. So these three are kodan, rakugo, and rokyoku are very traditional style narrative arts, I think.
Right. So kind of
Mm.
rokyoku is almost solo performance, but with kind of like a musical.
Accompanied by shamisen player. Yeah, shamisen.
Right.
And in case, yeah, rokyokushi or rokyoku performers stand with a table in front of them when they perform. Yeah,
Mm.
but kodan performers and rakugo performers kneel down on a cushion.
Mm. Right. So, by the image of rakugo performers, to me, maybe it's easier to understand. Like it's like a stand-up comedian, but it's not standing, but it's sitting on the zabuton mat, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the power of one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's quite different from stand-up comedians because rakugo is a kind of, storytelling. It's it's not only jokes, but there are some jokes, but it's basically a storytelling. So that's quite different from stand-up comedy.
Mm.
Mm.
Right. So the real story really is it's like the program The Moth, which is popular on the radio, but it's probably like people started to talk about what happened to someone else, and then it was so funny that people started to talk more and more that kind of thing. That how I imagine it started.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm.
Right. So all right. So so how did you get into Bakugo, and how did you study it?
Mm. Um, I um, I joined the Rakugo Tatekawa-ryu in 1984. It's quite a long time ago. My mentor is Tatekawa Danshi, and he died about 9 years ago. He left the Association of Rakugo in 1983 because he had some trouble with the association, and he founded his own school or his own group called Rakugo Tatekawa-ryu in 1983, and I joined the group the next year, and I stayed there for several years. So that's how I entered the world of rakugo. So I learned what rakugo is from Tatekawa Danshi, and I studied Japanese rakugo classes in 1991, and I hired some professional rakugo performers to teach the classes. So I also learned rakugo from those teachers, from professional rakugo performers.
Hmm. So when you grew up, you are always watching Bakugo performances?
Yeah, I liked rakugo, yes, but I was not born in Tokyo. I was born in Aichi, so there was no yosei or yasumin's what rakugo comedy houses. So I was only enjoyed rakugo on TV. Mm.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah, so it's interesting. There are so many schools of Rakugo performance. It's a serious, the genre of entertainment. So the listeners, it's really, it's just very traditional in good
Mm.
way. So, why did you decide to perform Rakugo in English?
Um, I've always liked learning English, and I loved listening to rakugo since I was a child. So for me, performing rakugo in English was it's a quite natural result, I would say.
Mm.
Mm,
Right. Well, I really respect. It's not an easy thing.
mm,
Yeah, and then you visited many foreign countries and performed rakugo for local
mhm.
audience,
Yeah,
and of
yes.
course in English. So, where
Hmm.
have you been, and so far, and what were the reactions of non-Japanese audiences to your performance?
Hmm. So far, I have performed in 8 countries. I performed in the United States, of course, US, UK, and New Zealand, Australia, and Laos, and Kazakhstan, and Georgia. Georgia as a country, not as a state of the United States. So I performed in those countries. In the United States, I toured so far. As I toured California, I mean Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, Seattle, and Phoenix, Arizona, and Houston, Texas, and New York. I
Oh,
performed in New York in 2017, 3 years ago.
mm. I heard
Yeah.
you performed at Metropolitan Opera at Lincoln Center in
Mhm.
New York. That's a huge honor to perform there. So
Mm.
yeah, so did you have a relationships with the local, some organizations? So who hosted all those tours and performances?
You mean who the organizers? You mean who the supposed to
Yeah,
mean? Uh,
right. Because you
yeah.
went to very unusual countries, and then you just don't go and then do it, right? So there's
Right.
people
Yeah. Sure.
bringing
Sure.
people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There are of course some organizers in each country.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Yes, in the States there are yes one or two organizers who helped us and who promoted our performances. Of course. Yes.
Mm. So did
Yeah.
you offer first, or they invited you to?
Usually they invite us. Yes, usually they invite
Wow,
us. Mm.
interesting.
And the
So,
audience is quite
mhm.
responsive compared with the audience in Japan. The audiences in the United States, particularly, I think, are very responsive. Um, I still
Mm.
remember when I performed in Sedona, in Arizona. We performed at a theater in Sedona, and the audience was really, really responsive. The Japanese audience is not, it's rather quiet compared with the audience in the United States.
Right. Wow.
Mm.
So they loved it. Well,
Yeah,
they laughed.
they love the story.
Right.
Yes.
I'm
Mm.
curious. They laugh at the same time.
Hmm.
Universally.
I
Wow.
think so. Yes. Yeah. Basically, they laughed at the same points, yeah, same
Mm.
jokes. Mm.
Right. Okay. Um. All right. So and then you yeah, I'm just curious. So you're Kazakhstan and Georgia. So who are they? The audience is just curious. You know,
Hmm.
the general public or
Yeah, in general public, yes. Georgians in Georgia and people in Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan, the local people came to a theater or came to the university. We performed at several universities, so college students were listening to our performances.
wow,
Mm,
that's amazing. All right.
mm.
So we have all to talk about. So now let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, Erickson will perform rakugo for us. So please stay with us.
All of us at HRN have been keeping busy despite working and recording from home. This fall, we're proud to announce new shows on the network that each bring important and enlightening stories to listeners around the world. While the world is in turmoil and the future of our country is uncertain, there are certain constants that help keep us going. For us, food and storytelling are essential. While we can't come together in person, food podcasts from HRN can provide a virtual table we can all gather around. Bringing exceptional stories to your ears and keeping you informed on the ever-changing political and environmental issues of our time is integral to our mission. At a time when the world around us is rapidly changing, HRN is committed to being here for our listening community, and we need you to be here for us. Join our table and help ensure the future of food radio by becoming a member of HRN. Go to heritageradionetwork.org/donate to make a contribution. Check out the latest additions to our lineup while you're there. You can see all of our series at heritageradionetwork.org/new shows.
Welcome back. You're listening to Japan Eats. I'm your host, Akiko Tema, and my guest today is Kanaria Eiraku, who is a rakugoka, or traditional Japanese comic storyteller. So, the humor is very hard to share between different
Mm.
languages and cultures. So,
Mhm.
what is the key to communicating humor to a non-Japanese audience?
Mm. I think there are local humor and universal humor, and I think it is quite difficult to local humor is, I think, quite difficult for the local people to understand. I mean, for example, we have when I say local humor, I mean puns or play on words. And in Japanese, we have a lot of words which have a double meaning, and those humors are quite difficult for foreign people to understand. But we have a universal humor. That's when the story itself is funny. I think everyone can laugh at those humor. Yeah, that's how it feels. So for example, I think in English too, there are lots of humor which are based on puns or what plays on words. For example, there's a short joke like hijack. It goes like this: I was arrested at the airport. Oh, what did you do? I just called my friend. What's his name? Jack. And what did you say? Hi, Jack. See, so those are, it's really difficult to translate into other languages, right? Yeah.
Right.
So there are lots of humors like this, and this is what I call local humor. Yeah. But the story itself is interesting. It's funny. I think it's understandable in any languages. For example, there is a short joke called "test score." It's a conversation between son and his father. The father said, "Oh, look at all these bills. Everything is going up. A doctor bills, gas, water, electricity. I'm glad if just one thing would go down. Dad, look at my test score." Like this. So this, so this kind of jokes are universal, right?
Right.
Everybody, yeah, everyone in every country can understand.
Right. And it's the thing situations shared by many families too. Um, okay, so yeah, and the subject of rakugo can be anything, right? Any parts, any aspects of your life. So because this is Japanese, I want to talk about some food aspects.
Mhm.
So maybe you can talk about some stories about food.
Food, yes. I'd like to start with some sweets. In rakugo, sweets like manju and yokan sometimes appear in the story. Manju is a dumpling with sweet red beans inside, and its shape is round. And yokan is square, and yokan is a sweet jelly made of red beans or azuki. So red beans or azuki is often used for Japanese sweets. And there is a very popular rakugo story called Manju Kowai, or Scary Manju. And I'm going to tell this story later. And in a story called Hatsutenjin, or New Year Visit to the Shrine, um, son asks his father to buy dango and ame. Dango is skewered dumplings, and ame is candy. So those sweets appear in rakugo stories.
Mm, right.
Mm.
Okay. And so maybe you can tell us the manju kwai, scary manju.
Yeah.
All
Hamburger
right.
scare. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. So
So,
the story is based on manju kowai, or scary manju, but nobody knows what manju is in foreign countries. So I changed manju to hamburgers. So hamburger, because everybody in every country knows what manju is. So scary hamburgers, and all the characters in the story are English-speaking people. I mean Americans. So it's uh, it's based on a traditional story, but I changed manju to hamburgers. All right. So
universal.
let me. Okay. So
Okay.
let me
So, okay.
begin
So
the story.
listeners, this is a performance. I'm going to mute myself. It's going to be around 10 minutes. And I guarantee you're going to have nice laugh, very big laugh at the end. So please begin.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for coming, everybody. Don't sit so close to each other. Yeah, keep a social distance. Okay. Is everybody here? Hmm? Oh, yes, except one person. Oh, who is not here? Long. Oh, Long is not here. Oh, it's much more fun with him. But anyway, let's begin the party. Sorry to be late. Oh, long. What's the matter? You look pale and you are panting. Have you been chased? No, no, I saw a snake. You know, I'm afraid of snakes. I'm afraid of eels, earthworms, anything that is long. But your name is long. Yes. So my name scares me. Oh, your name scares you. That's too bad. But they say anybody has one or two weaknesses. Abe, is there anything that you're afraid of? Me? I'm afraid of frogs. Frogs? Why? Because they open their mouths wide. I'm afraid they will swallow me up. Ah, I see. I don't like them either. Ben, how about you? I'm afraid of spiders. I'm afraid of anything that produces threads. Even a sewing machine scares me. Even a sewing machine scares you? Oh, that's too bad. Carlos, how about you? I'm scared of centipedes. Centipedes? Why? Because they have so many legs, and when I think about how many shoes they need, that scares me. What? Are you concerned about their shoes? Oh, you're a strange guy. And David, how about you? Well, I'm afraid of ants because they march in line, and when they meet each other, they are whispering something. I'm afraid they are speaking ill of me. Are you concerned about their conversation? Oh, you are also a strange guy. And Elvis, how about you? I'm afraid of horses because they kick you. Ever since I got married, I've been kicked by my wife. Now I have a strong fear of horses. No, 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 you're not afraid of horses. You are afraid of your wife. And Henry, how about you? What? Why are you shrugging? Oh, nothing? Nothing? But you don't have to put on airs like that. We are having fun. Why don't you join us? Why do we have to talk about something that scares us? We are men. Oh, yes, yes, of course, but isn't there anything that you're afraid of? How about snakes? Oh, snakes. I eat them. I eat them more often than eels. Yeah, and when I have a fever, I coil them around my head. It makes me feel comfortable. Oh, really? How about frogs? Ah, frogs are my favorite. And ants? I sometimes eat them with rice, as a kind of seasoning. And spiders, I put their threads into natto, fermented soybeans, when the beans are not sticky enough. And horses, eat them. I like to eat their meat raw. It gives me a lot of energy. Is that right? So you eat everything, huh? But still, there may be one or two things that may scare you. Hey, hey, don't keep asking me. Actually, I'm trying to forget it. Oh, you're afraid of something, huh? What is it? Please tell us. If I tell it to you, you will laugh. No, 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 we won't laugh. What is it, huh? It's not a state secret, is it? Don't be bashful. Um, I'm afraid of. And no, you will laugh. No, no, I said I won't. What is it? It's not shameful at all. Please tell us. Well, I'm afraid of hamsters. No, no, not hamsters. Ham hamburgers. I beg your pardon. Hamburgers. Hamburgers? What kind of animals are they? No, 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 they're not animals. I mean, hamburgers you can get at McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Shake Shack, In and Out, Five Guys, Sonic. You mean those hamburgers? Hey, don't laugh. I'm sorry. So you're afraid of hamburgers, huh? I love hamburgers. My favorite is a chicken sandwich. Oh, don't talk about chicken sandwiches. I'm afraid of chicken sandwiches most. Oh, you are afraid of chicken sandwiches most. So you really are chicken. Hey, don't call me chicken. It's a bad joke. Oh, I'm sorry. I also like double cheeseburgers. Oh, don't talk about double cheeseburgers. That's twice as scary. Is that right? When I'm really hungry, I even try a triple burger. Oh, don't talk about triple burgers. That is 3 times as scary. Is that right? Last week I went to Sasebo and I tried some Sasebo burgers there. I'm sure their hamburgers are the best in the world. Don't talk about Sasebo burgers. I went to Sasebo on business last month, and when I saw Sasebo burger stands lining the street, I fainted. Did you? Yes, I'm ashamed of myself, but I did. Oh, I'm getting dizzy, probably because I remember Sasebo. Can I go to the next room and take a rest for a while? Oh, sure. And go ahead. Did you hear that, everybody? Huh? Henry is afraid of hamburgers. I have a good idea. Let's buy dozens of hamburgers and put them around his head, and let's get him for his daily arrogance. Ah, yes, that's a good idea. Let's scare him with hamburgers. All right, then. I'll give you some money. So go and get as many hamburgers as possible with this money, okay? Oh, yes. We are back. Oh, you bought so many hamburgers. Please put them here. So, this is fish burger, and egg burger, shrimp burger, and chicken sandwich. Oh, I'm sure this scares him most. A Big Mac, Whopper, ramen burger. What's this? What? The buns are made of ramen noodles. Oh, I've never tried this before. And sasebo jumbo. Oh, where did you get this? In Yoyogi. Oh, you can get this in Yoyogi. I didn't know that. Okay, it's a great collection. Why don't you put them on a tray and bring them to his bed? Oh, yes. Okay, so let me open the door. Oh, he is sleeping so well. All right. And let me close the door. Now, shall we wake him up? Oh, yes. Henry, how do you feel? Ah, I I had a bad dream. I was surrounded by hamburgers in my dream. Did you hear that? He was surrounded by hamburgers in his dream. He doesn't know his dream is coming true. Henry, why don't you wake up? Wake up, Henry. Oh, yes, yes. Hamburger! Who brought all these hamburgers? Are you going to kill me? Hey, please help! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! I'm scared! Help me! Fish burger. Good fish. On this tartar sauce perfectly matches this fish. Help me! I'm scared. Oh, this is chicken sandwich. This is actually my favorite. Mm, 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 Good, good chicken. This chicken is even better than Kentucky Fried Chicken. Help me! I'm scared. What's this? Ramen burger? What? The buns are made of ramen noodles. I've never tried this. I'll eat this later. I put this into my bag. And our Big Mac. Okay, I'll eat this later. And Whopper later. And this is sasebo jumbo. Where did they get this? Mm, it's yummy. This steak is really thick and it's juicy. And this gravy sauce is excellent. Help me! I'm scared. Hey, isn't it strange? He is screaming help, and I'm scared, but there's a pause in between them, and it sounds like he is munching something. Hey, Long, why don't you slightly open the door and peek in? Oh, yes. Hmm? John? He's he is eating them, and he is putting some of them into the bag. He loves hamburgers. What? Hey, hey, Henry, what are you doing? You are eating them. What is it that you are really afraid of? Now, I'm afraid of a glass of Coca-Cola. Thank you.
So he eats Coca-Cola now. That is crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's too bad that your performance, the acting part, hands and, use of the fan and, handkerchief,
Yeah.
that would be a big part
Hmm.
of it. And, yeah, maybe next time you can, I don't know, something like a video recording for us too. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is the first time for me to perform rakugo for radio listeners.
Mm,
So actually,
right.
I added some words to explain what's going on. Yeah, actually. Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah.
right. So yeah, so this is a universal classic story. So this is the thing how you do it, and then do you change? Would you change the food and from hamburger to anything else depending on where you go? Like in
Yeah, I think hamburger is really popular in any country. So,
mm,
and manju is not known. So, unless in Japan, I think scary manju is okay because foreign people living in Japan may know what manju is. But when I perform in foreign countries, I change to hamburgers. For example, when I performed in Laos, Laotian people, Laotians also eat hamburgers. And I asked some Laotians what is the popular hamburgers in Laos, and they said that there is the hamburger called Sputnik, and
mm,
Sputnik is quite popular. So I included that hamburger, the brand of Sputnik, into a hamburger, into the
mm,
story. Yeah, so that's how I change a little bit in each country. So, but
mm.
basically, I use I tell scary hamburgers.
Right. And it's what's impressive. Another thing is that you perform multiple characters, and you can tell even on the radio, and also when you eat hamburgers, it's as if you're really eating hamburgers. I got hungry too. So,
Yeah, that's a
so
great compliment.
mm, yeah.
Mm,
And then so let's talk about some other foods. So, for
mm.
example, noodles are very important in
Yes, yeah,
Japanese cuisine. So maybe you can
right,
talk about that, right?
right, yes, yeah. One of the most popular raku stories is called tokisoba, or time noodles. And the time noodles in Kamigata or western part of Japan, it's called toki udon. So the characters eat udon noodles. And in Tokyo, it was changed to soba because people in Tokyo prefer to eat soba noodles to udon noodles. So tokisoba or time noodle is quite popular. The story is about a man who goes to a soba noodle restaurant, and he cheats the noodle seller when he pays. Soba noodles was 16 mon in the Edo period, and when he paid all in small coins, and he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Noodle seller, what time is it? It's 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's how he cheated 1 mon. Yeah, so that's quite a popular story.
Mm,
And another guy was looking at it, and he tried to do the same thing the next day, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work well. So that is a kind of typical rakugo, the rakugo story. So
mm,
tokisoba is quite popular the noodles, the noodle. And when we eat noodles, we slurp, making sounds. So I think, slurping is quite impolite. It's considered impolite in foreign countries. So when I perform tokisoba or time noodle, I say that I slurp the noodles, but it's not considered rude in Japan. So they will understand.
Mm.
We eat noodles like this. Yeah, sometimes
Right.
it bothers foreign people if they don't know it. See, because they consider making sound is quite impolite when eating.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that
Mm,
I sometimes, people ask Japanese people why they slurp. And I think
mm,
even scientifically, because when you slurp, the air brings up more flavor because of the nose smell and what kind of like throat smell,
mm,
like a retronasal smell, which comes from the food inside your mouth. And when you get the air, you get more
mm,
flavor out in the air and
mm.
your nose
That's
can
interesting.
sense it.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
So it's a very smart way to maximize the flavor experience. And that's what everybody should slurp, in my opinion. And, like a sommeliers do when they drink water, they like, this kind of like weird sound, but that's the same idea. You get maximize the flavor experience.
I
So,
see. That's interesting. Mm,
right.
mm.
Anyways, so, um, do you have any story that you can share with anything about other
Yeah,
food or?
about the soba noodles. Yes, I have. I'd like to introduce a short story which was made by Henry Black or Kailakti Black. Kailakti Black was a British rakugo performer in the Meiji period. He was British. He was born in Adelaide, Australia, but he was British, and he was born in 1858, and he came to Japan when he was 6 years old because his father was working in Japan as a journalist. And when he grew up, he became a rakugo performer, and he recorded one short story called "Laughs at the Soba Noodle Restaurant." It's a short story. It goes like this. One day, it's a real story. That he experienced when he was in Asakusa. One day, he was walking around Asakusa and he was starved, and he entered a soba noodle restaurant. He was really hungry, so he waved at the waitress and he ordered three tempura soba and four meat soba. And he was waiting and waiting, but his orders were never served. Other customers came in and finished eating and left the restaurant. So he thought that it was a racial discrimination. In the Meiji period, there are very few foreign people. So he thought that it was a racial discrimination. So he waved at the waitress again and he complained, "What happened to my orders?" And she said that he said, "Oh, I was waiting for your friends." She never thought he would eat them all. And, he got very embarrassed and he ate them very quickly and he left the restaurant. That's called, yeah, Laughs at Soba Noodle Restaurant. I like this story.
Yeah, me too. um, okay. So by the way, I heard that there's some interesting story about what it's about the meat eating. So Japan banned eating meat from the 7th century until the end of the
Mm,
19th century.
mhm,
However, I heard that people are eating meat secretly,
mm,
and there were
mhm,
people stories talking about the secrets. So maybe you can tell us
mm.
about that.
Yeah, the meat was prohibited to eat because of Buddhism. I think the teaching of Buddhism forbade people to eat meat. But actually, in the Edo period, they were eating meat secretly. Uh, they called they called them medicine and ate the meat secretly. Um, and the government, I think the government also allowed people to eat meat. Actually, so it was they were not supposed to eat meat, but they were eating meat secretly. For example, uh, wild boar meat, or I think you don't have wild boar meat in the United States. Inoshishi. It tastes like pig. I mean, it tastes like pork. So a pork and beef and the meat of deer and horse and wild boar. Those meat were eaten by people in Edo secretly.
Mm. Right. Well, we have wild boar here too, but I think it's Japanese wild boar looking more like wild, like real
Ah,
wild. Right.
mm.
And so the wild boar is called mountain whale,
Yeah,
and
it's mountain whale. Yeah, Yamakujira mountain whale, and deer meat was called sakura or cherry blossoms like that. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
like the deer is momiji, the the
Deer is momiji, yes, and
right,
horse meat was called sakura or cherry blossom,
right.
and
There's
deer
nothing
meat
to
was called
between. Yes.
yeah. It was kind of jargons,
Right.
for yeah. Mhm.
So, okay, and well, that's interesting story. Just this is very tangential story, but how it ended. Japanese people ended this ban of eating meat, which started in the 17th century, was the Meiji emperor. That was in 1871. The emperor, I forgot his name, but in the Meiji era, he ate beef
Mhm.
officially, and then
Mhm.
show that it's okay to eat beef.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
emperor at that time was everything, as the king and queen, and god, everything combined. So,
Mm.
and then people really kind of freaked out. So to some
Uh-huh.
people, I went to the
Mhm.
emperor's residence and then tried to attack the emperor. That's how upsetting it was back then. So
Mm.
yeah, so that's why people really hide the fact that they're eating meat, because they could be totally punished by eating meat that they're not allowed legally.
Mm.
So anyway, so you teach rakugo in
Mm.
English.
Yeah. Mhm.
So is it only in Japan, and can our listeners learn rakugo from you?
Yeah. I have some classes, and of course, I have classes in Tokyo, but one of the classes is online, so anybody in the world can actually learn Rakugo from me. And I have about 10 students who are taking the online classes because some of them live far from Tokyo, and some are afraid of coronavirus, so they prefer to take online classes. So anybody in the world can take online classes now.
Mm, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Wow. Just like
So if you contact me, mhm.
right. And then anything's, I mean, this podcast by itself is really recorded remotely, which was not possible before the COVID. So there's upside of COVID for sure. And
Mm,
so that's everybody can look up your
yeah,
site and then sign up for it.
yeah. I think yes. If they put my name, Kanaria Eiraku or English
Mhm.
Rakugo, I think they can browse my web page. I
Okay,
think
so
so.
Kanaria is Kanariya, and Eiraku
Right.
is Eiraku. So
That's right.
Kanaria,
Yes,
Eiraku.
Eiraku. And
Right,
my email address is Kanaria uh, Kanaria.eiraku and at gmail.com, so they can email me if they want. Mm.
right. So listeners, if you're interested, I mean, you have also videos in English, right? So I think
Mhm.
Rakugo
Yeah,
is very visual too. So I highly recommend listeners that you watch English Rakugo.
yeah, it's on YouTube. Yes, yeah, they
Okay.
can watch my stories on YouTube too. Mhm.
Okay, so Kanaria, it's Kanariya and Eiraku, Eiraku.
That's right.
All right,
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
So, who are your students in English? Are they Japanese people or non-Japanese people right now?
Yeah, mostly they are Japanese people. I've ever had a foreign student before, like from India, and I had a student from Britain. But mostly they are Japanese, and they are from they're from all walks of life. Some of them are housewives, some of them are salaried workers, some of them are retired people, some are students. So the youngest is, I think, 16 years old. He is the second grader of senior high school, and the oldest is 82. So there's a variety of people in my classes.
Right. Ah, that's amazing how diverse your students are.
Yeah, from 17 to 82.
Mm. Right. So what are your plans? I mean, this rakugo is universal, and
Mm.
what's your plans about the rakugo education?
Mm. Of course, I would like to perform in foreign countries. I would like to spread this wonderful culture. Um, but now it's quite difficult because of COVID. But after the COVID, I would like to resume touring the foreign countries, and
Mm.
I would like to perform at schools. And if the children are interested in English through rakugo, that's great.
Mm. Right.
Mm.
And the rakugo is just not just funny, but it's very interesting window to see the depths of Japanese culture
Mhm.
from different paths, I think.
I think
So,
so, yes.
right.
Mm.
And when you perform, you wear very cool classic outfit. So
Yes.
maybe you
Mhm.
can, how do you dress yourself when you perform
Mm.
rakugo?
Yeah, that's right. So we can learn about kimono, see. So we can learn not only rakugo stories, but also you can learn, some other aspects of Japanese culture.
So I kind of missed asking you this question.
Mm.
Um, for as your props, you only use hand towel and folding fan. So
Yes.
what is that? I mean, how do they function, and why are
Mm.
they two items?
Mm. Rakugo is really minimal performance, and we use only two props. Um, but so particularly this folding fan is used in many ways. Like it's used as a wallet. Uh, folding fan, yeah, and chopsticks um, and a sword, daggers, in various ways. And the hand towel is used as a wallet or um, our books and so on. And so the audience will imagine what's going on. So um, I think the audience, the imagination is quite important when we perform rakugo stories.
Hmm. Right.
Mm.
The other part of visual excellence of the rakugo is that the way you look at the direction you look at
Mm.
really changes, almost like as if you're
Mhm.
looking
Yeah,
at a
that's right.
different person. Right. So that's
Mhm.
another
We
big
just move our
element.
heads. Yeah, we just move our head. Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah,
you don't
to
change
act
the
out many
voice.
characters.
Right. So it's even it's the
Hmm.
same voice, you look at different ways. I mean, different directions, and
Yeah.
also, like
Yes.
right under the punting, like you had when somebody came into the place, and I'm scared of this. It's the punting and all those
Hmm.
tones, and it's so rich. It's
Hmm.
just amazing how simple act
Hmm.
can change the whole imagination in your head.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Mm.
Okay. So do you plan to I don't know. I mean, this COVID today, there's a good news about vaccine. So we may get a new vaccine sometime soon.
Mm.
But are you planning to, produce more YouTube episodes and make it more
Mm.
available?
I'd like to talk about my performances for the rest of the year. This month, I'm going to perform and also hold a English language seminar at the Kokugaku University on uh, what 25th of this month, and it is online English language seminar and performance. So and anybody can join. So I think it's you can get this information on the internet. And the next month, I'm going to perform with a Swedish rakugo performer whose name is Sanyute Kosenen. He's from Sweden, and he's a professional rakugo performer. And he entered the rakugo world 4 years ago and started as zenza or apprentice, of course. And he was promoted to what we call futatsume, the second level, which is considered to be a professional rakugo performer. And I'm going to perform. I'm going to have a rakugo event with him on December 26th for this year, and this is also going to be online, so you can enjoy online on Zoom. So I'd like to to talk about this. I'd like to let the audience know about these two performances.
Right. So, what's the best way to find the information? Is it a
The best way
website?
is to go to my web page. It's Eigo Rakugo, Eigo EIGO Rakugo RAKUGO dot wixsite wixsite.com/Kanaria Eiraku. That's
Okay.
that's my website. Yes, so you can get
Okay.
all the information about my performances.
Right. So, okay, I'm gonna put this link, the show page, so that easily our listeners can look up. And also, is this
Uh-huh.
the site your future performance
Mhm.
schedule will be put up?
Yes, right. Yeah.
Okay. So it's
Mhm.
eigorakugo.wixsite.com/Kanaria Eiraku.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay, so yeah, I will look for all your performances in the future because it's really meaningful and I appreciate what you do. Um, okay, so thank you so much for joining us today and staying up so late. It's very late over there.
And pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, listeners, if you have any questions or comments about the show or suggestions for show topics or guests, please contact us at japanneeds@heritageradionetwork.org or at kikotema.com. Japan Needs is a weekly program and always available at heritageradionetwork.org as well as on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify as a podcast. Our engineer is Jess Cranchich, and thank you for listening. I'll see you next week. Japan Needs is powered by Simplecast. Thank you for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. For our freshest content, subscribe to our newsletter. Enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with us on Instagram and Twitter at heritage_radio. You can also find us at facebook.com/Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is a non-profit organization driving conversations to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place. And we couldn't do it without support from listeners like you. Want to be a part of the food world's most innovative community? Subscribe to the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join the HRN family by becoming a member. Just click on the beating heart at the top right of our homepage. Thank you for listening.